Yes, welcome to the Brute Squad. This is our third video, and I don't know about you, Patrick, but I'm pretty pissed off, dude. Pretty pissed off.
We've covered this extensively, and I am.
You've covered my being pissed off extensively?
Yes, and I also am pissed off with the D-backs getting swept by the Dodgers, but less so pissed off because overall I think the team's going in the right direction.
No, they're not.
Oh, please, why don't you enlighten me on that?
The pitching is decent. The pitching is good, especially their starting pitching. They're really good. Okay, and not really good in the sense of like World Series good, but they're really good in the sense of this is not the Diamondbacks of last season.
Yeah.
However, our bullpen is 10% better than it was last season, according to me. Evan Marshall, if you're watching this, go away. Brad Ziegler, you're on the fence of going away. You know, our bats, dude. Where are our bats? Do we even hit home runs? Do we even hit singles? No, we do hit singles, and we hit them when we have 2 outs, and so gets on first base, and the next guy comes up, and he either strikes out or hits into an out in the infield. I'm tired of it. This is the way the Diamondbacks have been going for the past 2 or 3 seasons. Enough.
I think Soko or Jim covered it last week on an article about our hitters with runners in scoring position having pretty piss poor averages, including God Emperor Goldschmidt. God bless his name.
All praises be.
But yeah, I mean, it is frustrating. I think that it's not going to be a long-term problem. It's a young team. We got injuries we're dealing with. I mean, once Lamb gets back, assuming he's going to be hitting like he did before, those offensive problems could be forgotten.
Now, the only thing I agree with you is that Lamb is coming back.
Yes.
The other thing that I don't agree with you with, there's 2 parts of that, is it's a young team. How long have we been saying this? It's a young team.
No, only this year.
No. Listen. Shut up for a second. Listen. Other than our pitching in the past few seasons, it's always been a young team. How long are we going to use that excuse?
No, but it's not, though. We've had young pieces, and then Towers, the Dark Lord himself, kept trying to augment this team with veteran talent, which ended up blowing up in our face on a fairly regular basis. Now, under the Lord God, Tony La Russa, we're trying to actually build up a team from the ground up. And I mean, he's shown he's willing to trade those old anchors that are weighing this team down, and he's probably going to do the same with Hill as soon as he gets somewhat of a decent offer that's better than a bag of potato chips.
Now, why wasn't Hill traded last season when so many other teams needed a second baseman?
He wasn't traded last season because Towers in my opinion, did not know what he was doing, and they're going through a regime change. There's no reason they're going to trade someone going right in the middle of a regime change.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the regime change is over. It's La Russa, it's Stewart.
It is over. It's over now.
Right.
He's not been traded now because we're still waiting for at least a quasi-good deal.
But if you look back at what we've discussed in the past, here's 2 key points here. Peralta, God, he's going to be something great. Trumbo is retarded. He sucks. His bat's not there. His defense not there. And now it's totally opposite. Trumbo's bat is 300.
Yeah.
He's one of the best hitters on our team.
Yeah.
His defense, of course, is going to be lacking.
But Trumbo's not the future. He's going into a contract season.
Correct. Trumbo's not the future, but if you want to win games, you want somebody who's going to hit, and Peralta's not hitting.
Yeah,
even Ciarte is not hitting.
The season, despite what the ownership's going to say, is not about winning games. The season is about finding out who's going to stick, and then getting them all as many at-bats or innings as they need, depending if they're pitcher or hitter.
Okay, so then with your logic, how long are we going to give Ahmed, not Ahmed, Ahmed. How long are we going to give Ahmed at-bats? Considering he's batting like 170, 180 at best. Yes, he's a shortstop arm, but anybody that you put in shortstop is going to have an arm.
That depends on who we have coming to the minors. I believe was it Brandon Drury's also played shortstop, or has he just been out of third base?
He's both, but here's the problem with Ahmed. Why is he shortstop when Chris Owings was supposed to be replacing Didi Gregorius? Why? Why isn't Owings playing shortstop?
He's shortstop because they're trying to get rid of Hill. They don't want Hill playing on a day-to-day basis. So to counter that, they're playing both Ahmed and Owings.
And Pennington.
No, Pennington's playing now and again, and you and I both know
I've seen
Pennington can't hit himself. He can't hit himself out of a wet paper bag.
But he is batting better than Ahmed.
Only by the grace of God.
He's batting 210 right now. Ahmed is batting less than 200. And the only reason why we have him on this team is because, he can throw somebody out. Every shortstop that's in Major League Baseball can throw somebody out. What is so special about Ahmed?
But Ahmed's not bringing down the lineup. There's a whole bunch of other reasons why the lineup's not.
Who's bringing down the lineup besides Ahmed? Hill.
Go switch.
Go switch, yeah. Even you can go
Owings.
Pacheco in
You can
there.
even say Owings too.
So if you want to go, yeah. And I even talked to you about that the other day about how when is Owings going to hit? And then he magically hit a home run one game. You're like, Owings is now.
Oh, he has been hitting better. He has.
I would rather have Owings at shortstop than Ahmed. He's batting better than he is.
Well, then he might go there, but then who do you put at second? We want to get rid
You're
of Hill.
paying Hill for second base. Put him at second base. He's got the defense.
Yeah, and then he leaves a week or so later. In the end, in the future, we still have an issue to deal with.
The point is, the Diamondbacks have been talking about the future for 3 or 4 seasons now, and it started with Justin Upton. The future.
No, but we can't. But we're
Chris
talking about
Young,
two different,
Justin Upton.
two different front offices, though. Two different front offices. Yes, we have been talking. Yes, but two different front offices with two very different mentalities of how to bring up talent, develop talent, and where we've gone away from the grit. I mean, everyone loved the grit for
And
a
half of
short while.
half of our talent is up now. What are we doing with it?
We're giving him at bats.
And what are they doing with the at bats? We're getting swept in LA.
No.
We're losing 8-0 on the first game.
We're doing what is to be expected with teams giving young kids at bats, which is up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Half of these young kids were up last season.
Yeah, for a short time.
No, half of the season they were up. You know about Peralta and Inciarte and Pollock. You know about them. It's not like they just.
And what about those guys that have been doing well, like Tomas? Even though we were all hating on Tomas much earlier.
Yeah.
Tomas, surprisingly.
I believe Tomas's bat is going to be activated very quickly. He's batting about 300 right now, but his bat's going to come up soon. But we were talking. Last season. Look, Patrick. Last season it was Inciarte, Pollock, and Peralta were the future of this team as far as bats. Goldie not mentioned because Goldie is the Lord Emperor, and Goldie will do what Goldie does. Okay, it was Trumbo's going to suck, Hill's going to suck, and Trumbo's actually looking really good right now.
Yeah,
Hill, of course, is
surprising.
sucking.
Very surprising.
But the point is that we moved Didi Gregorius to the Yankees. We got rid of a shortstop because we had too many shortstops. And then now we have, again, too many shortstops, and nobody's doing anything. And the guy that we wanted to replace Gregorius with, Owings, is batting about 215, 220, and he's not getting everyday play. Who's getting everyday play? Ahmed. And Ahmed's batting nothing. He's doing nothing. Why do we have Ahmed? He's a triple A guy at best right now. Yes, he's got a glove. Yes, I can't do that. You can't do that. Nobody can do that. What Ahmed does, except for any other shortstop in Major League Baseball.
And he could be sent down to the minors again shortly.
Oh, that's going to happen.
I can see
that's going to happen.
I can see it.
I'm
The guy's batting
he's
one.
going down there at the next series.
I would not be surprised. But I, unlike you, am not worried because in the long run, I see a team with better pitching and with bats that at least have potential going forward. I was telling you earlier. This time last year, we were,
4-20.
Yeah, 4-20. I'm sure all of you, readers, are going to correct me on this, but we were 4-20 going out of April.
4-20, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We were 4-20 or whatever going out of April. We were a tire fire. We were done. We had no chance. Now, I think we're, even after this sweep, I want to say we're only 4 or 5 games out of second place.
And we're about 3 games below 500.
Yeah, this is not.
The NL West is really a competition right now, at least for 2nd to 5th place. The Dodgers, of course, are holding first place down quite nicely.
Yeah. They are, but as we lovingly joked about the Dodgers, they'll have a great shiny record, and then they're gonna be one and done in the postseason again and
But
again and
I
again.
would trade. I would trade with them. I would trade with them to be in the playoffs and being one and done.
I mean,
Considering we're probably not going to make the playoffs, I would trade with the Dodgers that we would go there and be one and done.
part of me wants to say yes to you, man, but on a regular basis, especially if we had a team, which we don't have a team, that has a stupid, silly payroll, that would actually piss me off more. To be on a team that's supposed to, all the talking heads say, are supposed to be in the World Series every year.
Well, look at
They're not.
the Nationals. The Nationals on paper are supposed to be the best team in baseball, especially with their starting pitching,
Yeah.
and they're not, and they're probably in the middle of their division right now.
And that, as a fan, would drive me crazy. As much as I would love to be competitive, love to be in the playoffs, I want to
Like
see.
having Max Scherzer and
I would rather.
Strasburg.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
you know,
I would rather be a team like the Cardinals, where I had some confidence every single year.
the Cardinals play baseball.
That's what I'm saying, though.
That's what they do.
I would rather have confidence knowing that my team not only has a chance to make the playoffs, but if they get into the playoffs, they have a chance of going far.
So at the beginning of the season, we looked really good. I really agree that we looked really good. At the beginning of the season, we looked really good.
Yeah.
Goldie especially.
Absolutely.
Owings even.
Goldie still looks good. So.
Right. And even there was a touch of brilliance there with Ghost Switch.
Yeah.
Now here we are at the beginning of May, and you can even go towards the end of April, and what I think we're looking like is the Diamondbacks of last season and the season before, where, okay, it's 0-0. Just let me talk. It's 0-0. We got 1 out, 2 outs, and so gets on base. He tries to steal, which I like the aggressiveness. That's how I coach Little League.
Yeah.
It's aggressive. You play aggressive. Get them to throw that ball away. Get them to make a mistake. Get into the pitcher's head by running the bases. However, we're getting thrown out at second base a lot. Goldie is literally the only guy that can steal a base on this team right now.
Yeah.
And he is literally like the biggest guy on the team, other than Tomas, who's big because of Golden Corral. Now,
Yes,
my point is that there's no or 2 outs or 1 out, and we get a single in the middle of the order.
Yeah.
And the next guy comes up, strikes out, or the next guy comes out, hits a stupid blooper in the infield, and we're out. There's no base hits, there's no clutch hitting, and Pollock, Inciarte, and Peralta are supposed to be our clutch hitters. At least from last season, what we saw towards the end of the season, when we were giving them at bats, they were clutch hitters.
Yeah, so
They're
then
not doing it.
Playing devil's advocate, though, how much of that is them in a slump? And then they can snap out of that slump like we saw in the first couple weeks.
Now,
of the
I
season.
understand a slump. There's no doubt that our entire bats are in a slump. Even Goldie is striking out multiple times per game, especially in this series. 2 times or more per game.
Yeah.
Lord Emperor Goldie, all praises be, is striking out. And now I think he wants to strike out because he's striking out, and that's how he does it. If Goldie wants to strike out, he strikes out. But Goldie is striking out. That's a big problem.
And to that point, though, I'm just going to say that it's a problem now. I think some of those bats that you mentioned, going through a slump, it's early in the season, even a month in is still a small sample size. Now, if at the end of May, we're still seeing exactly what you described, then yes. That's something that Chip Hale needs to figure out. Chip Hale needs to shuffle up that lineup, shuffle up who's hitting leadoff. I mean, things need to change.
I really think that, and this is not favoritism or bias at all, but I really think that if at the end of May we're still batting the same way, something with La Russa needs to happen. Not La Russa leaving. I love La Russa being here in the organization, but there needs to be some shakeups in the hitting coach, the assistant hitting coach.
Maybe. I wouldn't even think of touching that until the end of the year, in my opinion. But overall, yeah.
But why wait until the end of the year when we're trying to develop young players?
Because we're developing young players. We don't know. We're not going to see consistency out of most of those guys for a while. Now, some of them, they might get a hot bat early, like we saw with Lamb, like we saw with Pollock early in the season, and they'll cool down. Does that mean that the hitting coaches are doing a bad job, or does it just mean that they're going through a slump? Because right now, I just think they're going through a slump. Now, small sample size. If at the end of the May, maybe some conversation need to be had, team meetings. We have no clue right now. And also, another thing, playing devil's advocate again. Dodgers going into this series were 10-2 at home. That's a pretty good home record. That's a really good home record. And for us to waltz in there and think that we're just going to, kill it, no.
So what's the difference between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers? Okay, when you look at the Dodgers, when you're watching the Dodgers games right now, there's a couple players that Rollins, Uribe, Ethier.
And Gonzalez.
And Gonzalez, of course. Everybody else is pretty much an unknown.
Yeah.
Except for Van Slyke, we saw him sometime last season. Everybody else is much of an unknown. So why is it that those unknowns can produce runs and they can be clutch, and our unknowns that we know because we've seen them for almost a season now?
Because they've had a relatively unified clubhouse for 3 years in a row now.
Really? They traded away half their team.
No, I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about coaches, coaching staff, those guys. The message has not changed in that team. And that could make a difference right there. Yeah, you're right. The staff, the players have changed. But the message there from the coaching staff has not changed. That mentality, that way of approaching the game has not changed. And that could account for a lot of it. Could account for a lot of it. Excuse me while I get some beer.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty much tired of it right now. We're in last place. The Houston Astros are in first place in the AL West, excuse me. The Houston Astros, those of you that are watching, the Houston Astros are in first place in the AL West.
And that gives even more credence to what I was saying, that it's early in the season.
No,
I'll be damned if the Houston Astros are going to be leading the league.
But it also gives BS to what you've been saying, because they have an all-new coaching staff.
Yeah, an all-new coaching staff that's going to be hitting that's going to be getting their stride off some hot-hitting players that are going to come back down to earth. And we've seen that before with other teams over the years.
So would you rather be the Houston Astros right now or the Diamondbacks where they are right now?
I'd rather be... as a fan, I would like to be the Astros. I think, though, that they're on an upswing just as we were at the beginning of the season.
That's the point, is we, as fans, want the Diamondbacks to win. Towards the beginning of the season, tickets were selling. Now they're not.
Well, but that's normal, though. The Astros, they can go
it's
through a bad...
It's normal because we're the Diamondbacks.
The Astros can go through a bad week next week, and everyone's going to say, oh, here comes the Astros, normal Astros again. Sample size, too small, way too small. Way too small. We're not going to know anything about any of these teams in the majors until the end of May. We're only catching very glimpses right now. Like, for instance, Boston. Their starting pitching right now is garbage. Is that going to last the entire season? I don't think so. I think they're going to be a decent team by the end of the year.
I think they are too, and I think the Yankees are probably going to be in the middle of that
Exactly.
division.
Exactly. What we're seeing right now is a lot of growing pains with a lot of different teams. I don't like it. It's from a D-backs perspective. It's driving me crazy right now too.
Dude, no.
But I'm not. The sky's not falling yet for me.
The sky's not falling yet for me either. I just have legitimate grievances with this team.
Well, and you know what? I'm not discounting them. I'm just discounting the gloom and doom scenario you got.
No, I'm not glooming and dooming just yet. I think that there's still going to be 2 or 3 in the division. But in order to do that, they have to hit. They have to bat. And they got to be clutch, and they got to score RBIs, runs. They got to draw walks.
I think Chip Hale's going to do his homework. I think Chip Hale's going to start making changes where he needs to.
And the first change will probably be Ahmed leaving.
I would not doubt it.
I would rather have Pennington at second and Owings at short. And let Hill ride the bench.
Hey, maybe Brandon Drury's going to come up, get himself a couple at-bats. Who knows? And maybe things change when Lamb comes back.
But speaking of that, when is Lamb going to come back?
Well, I think he was on the 15-day DL here.
Okay.
And I want to say They're probably going to put him on another 15-day deal to just be safe.
Right. Yeah, you don't
No,
want him to actually fracture.
Yeah. If he gets an actual fracture, then we're talking some serious trouble right there for him. Important thing is, the most important thing is, it sounds like Archie Bradley's going to be back right after the 15-day deal.
Which was amazing that he didn't actually fracture a bone in his face or
That he's not
a strange
out.
concussion.
That he's not out for the rest of the season right now is an act of God.
Archie Bradley, we're looking forward to you returning. Jake Lamb, we're looking forward to you returning. This is the Brute Squad. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, put it in the comments. We'll consider it. If we see you in person, talk to us. Until then, we are the Brute Squad.
Stay
Peace.
strong, guys. Oh, there we go.